Hey guys, just sitting over here at my park. Yeah, on the park. Sitting over here at the park here, our community center. See the building. Trying to show it to you. Yeah. I just want to talk about something again. You know, something that's kind of been on my mind. Sorry about the pause. Something that's kind of been on my mind for a while, and it's kind of a sad situation. I know I'm not the only one that feels this. I know there's other guys out there that feel the same way, especially in the United States. Well, the United States, Western Europe, Canada, probably a lot of those places especially. And it's one of the things that I feel is like, if you know who Coach Red Pill is online, he made a video one time talking about, men treat you like garbage, especially guys. Guys have it so much harder because men just treat you like crap. And it's why men don't have a lot of friends. Women always have more friends than men. And I don't mean the guy friends, the orbiter. I mean friends, acquaintances. Though that is part of it too, the orbiter thing. He made a video talking about, when men give you, a hard time and you want to get back at them, don't get back at them by beating them up. Don't get back at them unless they're literally trying to hurt you. Don't get back at them for, don't try to beat them up. Don't try to lie on them. Don't try to sabotage their lives. He said, just live well. That's how you get back at people. And he's talking about not just morally. I don't know if he's talking about morally at all, but he's talking about doing something with your life, right? Making some good money, get you a good wife and maybe a family and a house, and get you a good career, all these kind of things, right? And he was talking about, that's a great way to get back at people. Do the best you can. Try to live as well as you can, But the problem for a lot of men, good men and bad men, especially, good men, is it's so hard to live a good life now. And I mean in that way, I'm not talking about, morally. It is hard for a man, if his IQ is not super high, to get a good job. More of these jobs now are white-collar jobs. Blue-collar jobs are disappearing. And, white-collar jobs, and then what they kind of call it this gray color. It's kind of weird, but whatever. Some of the ways they describe these things. But, you have white-collar jobs. They call it pink-collar jobs, which is going to be mostly jobs probably for women. Men just aren't going to want to do those things. And, excuse me, the economic sector, especially in the United States, is moving away from men. I mean, unless you are a very intelligent man, you're going to really miss out and of making any kind of good money, because it used to be, in the days before the Industrial Revolution, and I had family that owned land. They were successful farmers. They actually owned quite a bit of land, and I have some ancestors that made really good money. And they own, they got land cheap here. Obviously, this is long ago. They got land cheap in the United States, wherever, the areas they were living in, and they were able to have a successful life. And trying to think, I don't want to get mixed up on my words here, but it wasn't, you didn't have to be, and I'm not insulting farmers. I mean, it's hard work. My grandfather was a farmer. He owned, he didn't own land. He sharecropped. I ought to make a video about that sometime. He passed away a number of years ago, long ago, 1990s, but getting off subject here. But no, not insulting farmers, but, farming does not require you to be, with all due respect, super duper whooper intelligent, right? Unless you are a gigantic farm contract, kind of guy. If you're just a guy that owned land, you farmed it, you worked the best that you can, you raised raised animals, maybe pigs, chicken, hogs, whatever. Pigs, hogs, same thing. But, it didn't take super duper intelligence, right? Then fast forward to the Industrial Revolution. Well, people, now you got to get a job. Now you got to work for a boss. You don't own your own land. And I know in the South that you had tenant farmers. Some of my family members up in Tennessee were tenant farmers, but I'm not going to talk about that right now because that's kind of like a job. You know, you're working for somebody else, but you still work the land. That now doesn't happen. And just a second, guys. There's a person walking by. I don't want them thinking I'm like mad or something. Hang on, just a second. They're exercising here. You can't see them, but they're right there. I just didn't want them thinking I'm, yelling or something. But okay, now I can get back. But yeah, I mean, it just didn't require a lot of intelligence. Then you get the Industrial Revolution, and yeah, it didn't require super intelligence to do those jobs, but you've got to be able to do those jobs. You got to work on a factory. You had to work on an assembly line. You had to, do those things. And if you are a person that is autistic, like I was, you're going to have a hard time doing that because you can't do those things fast. You're going to screw it up. And, and I understand the jobs. They've got to have efficiency. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not, arguing that. That's what they have to do, You got to have efficiency. You got to get it done. You're going to, if you're going to get those cars out, if you're going to get whatever they're doing out, get it out in the stores and get it out. You got to get it done. I understand that. I'm not, complaining, but that's what I'm saying. People like us cannot do that. They're just not going to be able to. They're going to get fired. And then now we have moved from an industrial economy, to this high-tech economy now. Well, that's even worse for autistic people. They're not going to be able, unless they are savants, and I'm not going to get into that in this video, but unless they're savants, they're not going to be able to do that. Most autistic people are not savants. They're not, really weird in every other way, and then they're super duper intelligent. That's not most autistic people. I'm not, and most are not. They just have a lot of problems. Social problems, physical problems that they can't help because they're neurodivergent, as I've mentioned in another video. They're not what we call neurotypical. And that's the problem, is it's getting to a point now that a man just cannot live a good life. Even in a worldly sense, he just can't. And if he has a lot of problems. And on top of it now, even for normies, it's getting tougher. Normie men, because the factory jobs are all gone. My area that I lived in when I was a teenager, we had factory jobs everywhere. Sara Lee, TJ's, we had all these kinds of jobs that you could make a decent living in. If you couldn't do anything else, you could at least work there and have a decent wage and maybe have at least a family, maybe a wife and one or two kids. And sometimes both of you could work at the factory. That happened. But a lot of times you only needed one, so the mom could stay home. That's going away now. And sorry about that, guys. I'm looking at the video. I'll have to stop this in a minute. I'm almost out of power. But, that's just something. I don't know if y'all agree with me on that, but it just seems like for a man, especially white men, because it even seems like the government's against them, against us. I'm a white man, so it seems like even it's against us. And I just wonder if you men, especially white men, feel this way, that you feel like I can't even live a good life. I get insulted my whole life. Maybe I have learning disabilities, or I'm short, or I'm fat, or I'm balding early, or I'm whatever, and I get made fun of, and I get teased, and I'm so angry, and I know what that feels like. I had all of those things. And you're just like, I'm angry, and I just wish I could get back at him. And like Coach Red Pill says, don't get back at them that way. Don't get back by fighting or beating them up or hurting their family or something. Get back by doing well. Get back by succeeding. And you can't as a man right now in the United States and in a lot of the Western countries. I'm not saying it's impossible, but boy, is it hard now for a man, and it's getting worse. I just wonder how you guys felt on that, if y'all agreed with me, and if y'all did, get back to me. I'd like to hear your comments on this, but that's all I can make. I'm about out of battery on this video, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this baby off, and whatever you guys think, I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.